Do you know why so many parents over 80 regret moving in with their children? It's not because they don't love them. It's because living together often quietly destroys the very bond they spent a lifetime building. When you reach your 80s, something shifts. You've earned your peace, your rhythm, your way of living. But once you move into your children's home, that balance begins to crumble. Your freedom turns into dependence. Your authority fades into silence. And before you realize it, you're living in a house that feels more like theirs than yours. I've seen it many times, older parents telling themselves, "It'll be nice to be with the family again." But what starts as comfort slowly becomes tension. You begin to tiptoe around their routines, their schedules, their rules. You feel like a guest in the very space where you wanted to belong. So today, let's talk about something many people don't want to admit. Why living with your children after 80 often does more harm than good. And what kind of independence can actually bring you closer to them in a healthier, more dignified way. Now let's get started. Reason 1, loss of freedom and identity. When you live with your children after 80, you might think you're gaining safety and support. But what often happens is far more subtle and painful. You begin to lose your sense of control over your own life. You've spent decades building habits, rhythms, and personal rituals that give your days meaning. Maybe you like to wake up late, sip your coffee in silence, or listen to old radio shows that no one else enjoys. But under someone else's roof, those freedoms slowly disappear. You adjust to their schedules. You eat when they eat, rest when they rest, and keep quiet when they need quiet. At first, you do it out of respect. But over time, you start to realize you've become a guest in a house that was supposed to feel like home. I once met an 82-year-old man named Robert. After his wife passed away, his daughter insisted he move in with her. She meant well. She worried about him being alone. But within a few months, Robert told me something that broke my heart. "I stopped deciding things," he said. "Even when I want to watch a movie or go for a walk, I ask permission first." That's the quiet erosion of independence. It doesn't happen overnight. It seeps in like fog. You think you're saving yourself from loneliness, but in reality, you're losing something more precious, the dignity of choice. And here's what most people don't realize. When you stop exercising independence, your mind and body begin to weaken. The small decisions you used to make each day, what to cook, where to go, what to fix, those are the very activities that keep the brain sharp and the spirit alive. Once they're gone, life becomes smaller, and so do you. Independence isn't about stubborn pride, it's about staying alive inside. After 80, the most dangerous thing isn't living alone. It's forgetting how to live freely. Reason 2, emotional strain and role reversal. One of the hardest things about aging isn't the loss of strength, it's the loss of balance in relationships. When you move in with your children, something delicate shifts beneath the surface. You're no longer the parent guiding the family. You become someone to be managed, cared for, sometimes even corrected. That shift might seem harmless, but emotionally, it can feel like the quiet breaking of something sacred. Think about it. For decades, you were the foundation. You made decisions, you offered advice, you gave stability. Then suddenly you find your children telling you when to eat, what medicine to take, or even how long to nap. Their intentions are good, they love you, they want to help. But love expressed through control can feel like pity. And pity is a poison that eats away at dignity. I remember a woman named Evelyn, 84 years old, who moved in with her son after a surgery. Within months, she told me she began to feel invisible. "He means well," she said, "but he talks to me like I'm a child. He tells me not to worry, not to lift anything, not to move too much. I can't even make my own tea without someone watching." The sadness in her eyes wasn't about tea, it was about losing her place in her own story. This is what many older parents quietly endure, a reversal of roles that leaves them emotionally trapped. The child becomes the caretaker, the parent becomes the dependent. What once was a relationship of guidance and respect turns into supervision and obedience. It's not anyone's fault, it's human instinct. But when this continues day after day, it slowly replaces warmth with tension and connection with quiet resentment. And here's the deeper truth. Emotional freedom keeps love alive. The ability to give, to share, to feel useful, it's what keeps the heart beating with purpose. But under your children's roof, you start to receive more than you give, and over time, you forget how to give at all. You stop being the storyteller and become part of the background. If you lose your emotional independence, you don't just lose your pride, you lose the invisible thread that keeps relationships equal, balanced, and full of life. Living separately allows love to breathe. It creates space for both generations to meet not out of duty, but out of genuine desire. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 2 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now let's move forward. Reason 3, hidden conflicts and lifestyle clashes. Living with your children after 80 often begins with warmth, but quietly turns into a series of unspoken frustrations. You see, no matter how much love there is between generations, living together under one roof means colliding worlds. Different habits, values, and emotional rhythms, and those differences, though small at first, can start to wear everyone down. You may have grown up believing in neatness, early dinners, and quiet evenings. Meanwhile, your children's homes are filled with constant activity, televisions, humming, phones ringing, grandchildren running through hallways. What feels normal to them might feel overwhelming to you, and what feels right to you might seem like interference to them. Take my old friend Harold, who moved in with his son and daughter-in-law at 83. At first, he told me it felt wonderful. We'd eat together, talk, and share laughs. But a few months later, he began noticing how small things, like leaving the TV on or forgetting to put a cup in the dishwasher, turned into quiet sighs or sharp remarks. I started apologizing for existing, he said. That's what these arrangements can do. They build invisible walls between family members. You stop feeling comfortable expressing your opinions, and they stop hearing your words as wisdom. Every decision, whether it's how the house is kept or what to eat for dinner, can become an opportunity for misunderstanding. And the hardest part? You begin censoring yourself. You don't say what you really think. You don't want to burden anyone or cause tension, so you stay silent, even when your heart is full. But silence doesn't keep peace. It breeds distance. These small cracks in communication are dangerous. Because they don't explode, they erode. Over time, they create emotional separation, even when you're sitting at the same table. Harmony doesn't come from proximity, it comes from respect. And sometimes the best way to preserve that respect is through space. When you have your own home, you meet your children as equals, sharing stories, laughter, and time, not routines or rules. That's how love stays pure when it's chosen, not required. Living apart doesn't mean you love them less. It means you love them enough to protect the relationship from the slow, invisible strain that comes when generations live too close for too long. Reason 4, financial pressure and silent guilt. When you live with your children after 80, money becomes a quiet but powerful shadow in the home. No one talks about it directly, but everyone feels it. You start to notice things, how the grocery bill stretches a little further, how the utilities rise, how your medical needs take time and attention. You tell yourself, they're my family. They don't mind. But deep down, a subtle guilt begins to form, and it changes the way you live. I once knew a man named George, 85, who sold his home and moved in with his son's family. I thought I'd be helping, he told me. I gave them some money for the mortgage, bought things for the kids, but after a year, he realized that no amount of money could balance the emotional scales. Every time I heard them whisper about bills, I felt like a burden, he said, even if they weren't talking about me. That's the invisible cost of dependence. It turns generosity into guilt. You stop buying what you need. You start saying, I'm fine when you're not, because you don't want to be an expense. Your children, meanwhile, may love you deeply, but still feel the unspoken tension of responsibility, financial, emotional, and logistical. They may never complain, but stress shows in small ways in tired eyes. In shorter words, in forced smiles at the dinner table. And this tension, unseen yet ever present, slowly changes love into obligation. No one intends it, but money always carries emotional weight. When it mixes with care, it can create resentment on both sides. You feel guilty for receiving, they feel guilty for wishing they had more space. Living independently, even modestly, breaks that cycle. When you have your own place and control over your expenses, every visit becomes a choice, not a calculation. You can give gifts out of joy, not pressure. You can share meals without counting costs. And most importantly, you can keep your dignity intact because you're still contributing to your own life in your own way. After 80, freedom isn't just about where you live. It's about keeping the right to give, not just receive. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 4 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now let's move forward. Reason 5, loss of freedom and self-identity. There's a quiet kind of loss that comes with moving in with your children, a loss not of comfort, but of self. After 80, what you truly crave isn't luxury, it's freedom. The freedom to wake up when you want, to leave a plate in the sink, to hum an old tune without being told to rest. But when you live under someone else's roof, even your smallest choices start to feel borrowed. You might think, it's my family, they won't mind. But the truth is, every home already has its rhythm, its invisible rules. The thermostat setting, the mealtime, the way things are cleaned or arranged, these all reflect someone else's sense of control. And when you enter that world, you slowly adjust yourself to fit. It starts with kindness, but over time it chips away at the part of you that feels independent. I remember Helen, an 82-year-old widow who used to love gardening. She told me, when I lived alone, I'd wake up with the sun, step into the dirt, and just feel alive. After moving in with her daughter, that changed. I still love flowers, she said, but I can't dig up the yard here. It's not my space anymore. She smiled as she said it, but her voice had that soft ache only those who've lost freedom understand. And this is the quiet danger when your world shrinks. Your identity fades. You stop deciding, you start adapting. You stop leading your own life and begin following others' patterns. It's not malice, it's human nature. We all shape ourselves around the environments we live in. But after 80, that reshaping can take away something precious. Your sense of being you. Autonomy isn't a luxury, it's the foundation of dignity. Living alone, even in a small place, gives you something no shared household can control over: your own hours, your own thoughts, your own peace. You decide what to eat, when to rest, what music plays in the background. You are the author of your day. When that freedom is gone, you might still breathe, but you stop feeling alive. And that's a loss no family relationship can ever replace. Reason 6, emotional dependency and the fear of being left behind. One of the hardest truths about aging is that love can turn into dependency without us noticing. When you live with your children after 80, that dependency often starts as comfort, help with meals, a hand with stairs, someone to talk to in the evenings. But slowly it begins to reshape your emotional balance. You stop doing things on your own, not because you can't, but because someone else will. It feels good at first, even tender. But the price of that comfort is silent fear. The fear of being alone again, the fear of losing your place in their home, the fear of not being needed. Many elders start to measure their worth by how often their children include them, how quickly they answer, how much attention they give. And that's dangerous because love that depends on constant reassurance stops being love. It becomes survival. I once met a woman named Grace, 84, who lived with her son and daughter-in-law. She told me, I used to feel strong, independent. But now when they go out, I wait by the window until they return. I don't know when that started, it just happened. That's how emotional dependency sneaks in. It replaces your inner stability with anxiety disguised as affection. Your children may not notice it, but they begin to feel that weight too. They sense your expectations, your longing for company, and they quietly start to pull back, not out of cruelty, but from exhaustion. That's when loneliness becomes sharpest, not when you're alone, but when you feel unwanted in a full house. Living separately allows something crucial to survive emotional balance. You still love your children, but you also preserve your self-worth. You stay capable, proud, and free to give love rather than cling to it. You can miss them, cherish visits, and still feel whole when the door closes. That's the kind of peace no shared home can give. When you choose independence after 80, you're not rejecting family. You're protecting the relationship from the slow corrosion of dependency. You're saying, I want to love you without fear. And that kind of love at any age is the purest form there is. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 6 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now let's move forward. Final thoughts. As we grow older, it becomes clearer that love and independence are not opposites. They are partners. Many people believe that living with their children will bring closeness. But in truth, too much closeness can quietly weaken the very bond they hope to protect. When you choose to live on your own after 80, you're not stepping away from your family. You're giving them and yourself space to breathe. You're showing them strength instead of need, presence instead of dependence. You visit because you want to, not because you have to. And that difference changes everything. I've seen too many elders give up their freedom in the name of love, only to find themselves feeling smaller, quieter, forgotten. But I've also seen others, men and women in their 80s and 90s, who chose to keep their independence. They wake up each morning knowing they are still living their own story. They may live alone, but they never feel lonely. So if you're thinking about moving in with your children, pause for a moment and ask yourself, what kind of relationship do I want with them in the years ahead? One based on need or one based on respect and choice? Because love that lasts is love that breathes. Thank you for joining us today. We'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and share one thing you learned today and how you plan to use it in your life. Your thoughts are important to us, so don't hesitate to share them. Reading your comments gives us great motivation and encouragement. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.